Peace, 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 you powerful ass manifestors. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Prophetess Asha. Alhamdulillah. 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 So we want to welcome you. It's Wednesday. Welcome to Humpback. And it is another conversation with the motherfucking woes in the building. I'm not finna do the symbol because y'all gonna see my nails, and we ain't doing that today. So y'all y'all rock the woes for me, please. Please do it for me because y'all not finna catch me up. Okay, I got to go see the nail tech. Okay, not too fucking much. Okay, so if y'all see my nails today, not too fucking much on Asha's nails. Okay, so anyway, all woes, y'all look fucking beautiful. Welcome. Okay, welcome. Let me go to these comments up here. All right. Hey, Miss Kendra down there in Facebook world and those on YouTube. So somebody mute because I hear an echo. So y'all, we got a serious topic today, you guys. Okay, so we are going to be talking about trauma and the effects of trauma on our children today. So we meet and we take this really seriously. Like this is going to be, because we always laugh and we always kiki and this subject is going to hit a lot of it may trigger some things tonight, but it's going to hit a lot of sensitive subjects. Okay, so but this is something I feel like we don't talk about enough. A lot of the times we were brought up, children need to be seen, not heard type shit, and we seem to think that children just have no traumas, no troubles, no worries. Like, what you crying for? You don't got nothing to worry about. You know what I'm saying? I know we have all said shit like that, but that's just untrue. Our children, they go through things, they have different pressures than we did. We was on, we talk about this app called Bigo that we're on. And we were talking about slavery and the effects of slavery and how the effects of slavery had, but they do experience psychological racism. It's still the fucking same. Okay, and that is a sense of oppression too, and that does cause trauma. So we're going to talk about how some of the school system, how the school system plays a part in our children's trauma, how a lot too about sexual trauma don't deal with and we don't talk about, and these things cause us trauma and our children trauma because it still happens today. Look at the amount of pedophilia that is being exposed in the media today. Okay, so this ain't something that just been going on. I was molested. A lot of our woes were molested, and a lot of them were by the people in our own fucking families. Okay, so this is an issue that I believe is not really talked about and that we need to discuss on how to heal our children so that shit can stop today. Right. So we're also going to be talking about some ways that where is it? The influence of society and the and traumatizing, how's it traumatizing our children, and how over sexualization is causing trauma to our children. So let's get into it. Welcome, Mystique. Welcome, Organic, Dr. Smalls. What do y'all think about this subject today? And I'm a mute.
Hey, it's so funny because when you just said her name, the kids was like, "That's organic. That's organic." Girl, they love your name. They love your name. It's so funny. Um, this topic is extremely important for me as because I am a mom. And one of the biggest things that I work on with my kids is um, not to inflict my trauma onto them, teach them what trauma is, teach them what healing is, teach them how to self-heal, and not to allow society to brainwash you and to get to you. We were in there talking earlier today about homeschooling and the girls, because I've been doing my research, been researching, and they say, one of the things that you should do is talk to your children, have a conversation with them about it to see how they feel about it. And they had mixed feelings, but after I explained it to them, they kind of like, interesting. So I think that this conversation topic needs to be had. And after this conversation, and you guys get some good information, go back and talk to your children. Go talk to your family.
Um,
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Go
go
ahead. You
ahead.
gonna go first?
Um, yeah. So I'll just get out the way. The topic is important to me because a lot of us adults don't realize how long we carry on our childhood trauma. A lot of us adults don't realize, the effects that it has on our children and the next generations to come when you don't heal. They don't understand the importance of that. I'm speaking from experience, like um my younger children won't get the same version of me that my older children got because that was an unhealed version of me, and so now I have to explain to them, what was going on with me because I'm human first before I'm a mother, and things happen to me that they wouldn't be able to understand because I protected them from. But in a sense, these school systems have play a major role in the cultivation of our children and how they think of themselves, how they carry themselves, and then they do a lot of they do a lot of judging and measuring, when it comes to these children, and that plays on their self-esteem. I'm going through it right now with my middle child, you know um and then it just seems like nowadays it's okay to just do anything to children, and then they shouldn't talk about it at all. They should just get over it. And I was one of those people that was, one of those children when I was younger. I was always told to shut up. You know what I'm saying? I was never able to talk. I was never able to express myself. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's sad because it's so many children out here hurting and they haven't expressed themselves. Y'all, I just want to give y'all a quick example. Those island boys that we was laughing at when they kept saying I's an island boy. Those boys was on Jeffrey Epstein's island. That's why they were island boys. They were being abused. So while we was out here like, you ain't no island, no, they are. Okay, they're stuck on a damn island with a pedophile and nobody's doing anything about it. When does it come? When does it come a time where we start protecting our children?
Woo, that was I mean, shit. She's just shit, girl. She took the top tier with that. From the bottom to the top. Same thing. Like it matters to me because I'm also a mother as well. I'm a younger mother. My son, he'll be 7. No, he'll be 8 in November. Um, and um, the things that happened to me, to this day, the person is still in my family. Never went to jail. Um, Still come around family functions, Um, and I found in my journey as I started talking to people more and getting to a place to where I could speak about these things that a lot of people were affected within their family units, like Asha was saying. 9 times out of 10 by someone in the family. Someone in the family that still comes around them, someone in the family that still sees them and act like shit is just a-okay. So from that aspect it really does hit home because I realized as I've been going through my journey through sexual trauma that it capsulized you into that moment when you were sexually traumatized, like, and if you don't have the proper tools you can get stuck within that trauma. So the effects of trauma is something that I've definitely been um what I would say the residue of my of my 20s. I just turned 30 in February, and a lot of the things and the choices and decision making process that I did was from the brink of what traumatized me during my childhood. So
Yeah, so who got the definition for what is trauma? Because I think that a lot of people, especially nowadays, you hear us throwing around that word trauma, 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 PST, PTSD, post traumatic what is it? I always used to say post-traumatic slave disorder, but that's not really what. Stress. That's it. Stress disorder. So, but no. So we deal a lot with trauma, right? So we need to know the actual definition of what trauma is. So can somebody give us that definition? Well, which one's gonna do it? Because I need to know if B gonna do it. I'm unmuting my IG for you so they can still hear you, B. So I mean Dr. Smalls.
Um, I can't read it verbatim because I don't have a second device, but I know that the first definition is a noun, and the first word in trauma is shock. You know,
Mm.
so that alone explains. It just is self-explanatory. You know what I mean? You have went into shock, and nobody can tell you what you could be, what you should be traumatized over. We all have our own traumas. You know, there's not one trauma bigger than
I'm
the
talking about
other.
somebody bookmark that because we need to talk about that. That's one thing that we're going to talk about. What did you just say, B?
um nobody should be able to tell you, nobody gets to tell you what to be traumatized over,
Nobody
because
gets to tell you what to be traumatized over. And make sure one of y'all looking at the comments in IG. You know what I'm saying? So we can read their comments too. Make sure we keep them engaged.
I see comments over here. I just got to finish setting up this my stuff over here, but I think
Yeah,
I see Nikki and
yeah.
hey y'all.
Hey,
Okay,
let
so
me go ahead and read let me read the definition, the one that we put in the chat. So the definition in on Google, the Googleable. When I heard that on Beagle, I was like, but so trauma. So it says upheaval, upheaval, distress, stress, strain, pain, anguish, suffering, upset, agony, misery, sorrow, grief, headache, heartbreak, torture, disturbance, disorder, jolt, ordeal, trial, tribulation, trouble, worry, anxiety, burden, adversity, hardship, nightmare. And then it goes into like physical injury, damage, hurt, wounding, sore, bruise, cut, maceration, lesion, abrasion, contusion, and healing. I love that it said healing. I don't know where that came from. But then here it is a noun, a deeply distressing or disturbing experience. Emotional shock following a stressful event or physical injury may be which may be associated with physical shock and sometimes lead to long-term neurosis, physical injury. So a deeply distressing and disturbing experience. Carry on.
And I'm glad
so
that you said. Oh, sorry, Asha. Just wanted to get in there real quick. You had said something about physical, right?
Say it again.
You said something about physical, right? Yeah, I'm glad that you said that because that's like Asha when we were talking about the other day about how you can how your emotional trauma can be manifested into the physical. So I'm glad that it said something about physical.
Even in these hospitals they call it trauma 1, trauma 2 when you go through physical injuries. So
mhm.
you know, that
Yeah,
means
the
something
trauma
has
unit.
happened.
The
Yeah.
trauma unit in the hospital. So look, so there was a lot to unpack, but we started talking like each other when we hang around.
Hold on, let me say it. So what you think about that? Let's unpack this real quick.
That's organic. So okay, so let's this goes straight into the question, right? Some ways we think our children process trauma because we can't tell our children what trauma is to them. You know, a lot of the times our trauma causes us to push that onto our children. So what I mean by that is, so we may have gotten bullied, you know, when we were young or whatever. So now we all hard And so you're telling your child to be an asshole, be mean, whoop their ass, do this, and that may be against what that child wants to do. You are causing that child trauma. You are causing that child to have a traumatic experiences, and this is why it's so important for you to start handling yours, so you can stop pushing them onto the children, because we don't know like what they deal with today, the peer pressures of today. Y'all think, and you know what, right, Spirit, do a fucking law. Y'all love to try to say, but think about y'all. This is what Spirit said. Think about y'all, how y'all move, and how it is so hard for y'all to be y'all authentic self. But then you expect children who are influenced by society, who are influenced by TV, their school, their peers, their parents, but you expect them to be their authentic selves and not fall into to peer pressure. And you think they don't have any worries or issues? So, what are some ways that we think our children process trauma? Who wants to go on that?
In my opinion, you have to first allow children to talk, and you can't make it personal. Don't be so easily offended, because if you ask your child specifically, is there any trauma that I have caused you? You have to be able to be ready to receive that without taking it personal, because me being told to shut up all the time really did something to me, not only throughout my childhood but throughout my adult years. It crippled me. Like, I could not properly articulate my emotions. I couldn't properly articulate any sentences. I'm smart, I know what it is I have to say, but I couldn't get it out because I was told to shut up so much. I couldn't tell anything. And then when I did tell, they were babysitting the baby narcissist that they were raising. You know what I'm saying? And so, when you don't, to me, when you're not like real with your children, where when you're not allowing them a space to be honest and open, that alone to me is a trauma right then and there. You have to be able to allow your child to communicate and, effectively communicate, and then teach them how to heal. And like Mystique Moon says, and she's very good at that. um, Teach them how to heal and teach them how to effectively communicate their emotions, because that did something to me for real. So allow your children to talk to you.
I think that is one of the biggest things, because when you ask that, the first thing I thought about is the trauma that I went through as a child. And that was something that I felt was always asked by the people who caused me the trauma. They were the main ones, like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And it's like, that's another
Oh
thing
yeah,
too.
why is that?
Yeah, because that's another thing that I was thinking about this whole time, was like, the main people who asked the fuck was wrong with me was the people causing the shit.
That's
And
manipulation, right?
definitely. And the ones that I felt that should have been paying attention wasn't paying attention. But by the time that they did pay attention, it's because I was acting out from how I was responding to the trauma. So I think that's one of the ways that children do act out, is by doing other things. For me, it was hypersexuality. It was not listening to anybody's fucking rules. It was a total decline in my schooling. I was a nerd. I've always been a nerd. I always loved to read. I've always loved to be, earliest fucking class. What do you need? All of that declined. The way that I dressed also changed. I became very morbid. I've always been kind of like a very lighthearted child, but when I was going through those traumas, I became very morbid. I didn't have an interest in things. I didn't have an interest in anything to do with my household. It was kind of like I was on autopilot. So that's another thing that I also think children go through, because you literally it's like jail. It's like, okay, you wake up, you get your clothes on, you go to school, you come home, you get yelled at, you eat your food, you clean your room, do your
And be
homework.
praying like, can't wait till I get older.
Exactly. Exactly. So that was another thing. For me with communication, I felt like I didn't trust anyone. I felt that's another thing that I think was how our children respond is that I didn't feel like I had a safe space to where I could speak to an adult, because it was like anytime I was trying to speak to an adult, they were too busy to tell me that wasn't the issue. So that goes back into what B was saying with actively listening, actively letting a child get it out, because sometimes they can't even. That was another thing I couldn't put into words, that I've been repeatedly molested and that I'm don't know what the fuck to do about it. I didn't know how to express that. I didn't even know how to even begin to say that to another adult. So that was also something too. Until I had this woman that I was working with, and she actually had me draw stuff. And through drawing is kind of how my story kind of came out a little bit. But that's what I got for now.
So for me, I had a pretty traumatic childhood too. I think one of my biggest things with our children is to make sure that they are protected, make sure that they are not neglected. You know, my biggest issue or memory is neglection. I was neglected as a child. I was neglected emotionally. I was neglected physically. I was neglected mentally. Like I was neglected like a motherfucker. And children need attention. You pour into children. Their first example of the world is you. And so, because of that neglection, I grew up and I needed to seek validation in any way possible. I found one that I thought worked for me, and that's the validation of men. So that's how that started. That's how that trickle effect started, because I got a lot of attention from men, and it wasn't positive attention. They were validating this need to be seen and to be heard, because as a child, what's the first thing your kids do when they come home from school, or they draw something and they look what I can do type shit, you know what I mean? And you pour that into them, you allow them a safe space to be children and to feed into them. And when you don't allow that safe space to feed into them, and for them to say, i'm important I'm important and I'm protected. Those two things were really huge. And so when they grow, when you lack that, you grow up in the world and you feel on the defense all the time. I was always on the defense. Like I was like you, organic. I didn't trust nobody. I didn't trust nobody word. I felt like the only person or people that I can count on was God, which is what caused me to start being so religious, because I found comfort in God as a little girl. Like I found comfort in the feeling the Holy Ghost. I was getting the Holy Ghost at a really early age. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't identify it at the time. I just used to feel real good about church, so much so I used to get up and go knock at the pastor's door when I was 7 or 8 years old to go to church with them, because they lived down the street while everybody else in my household was asleep. And there was a whole lot of us in the house. You feel what I'm saying? So I found comfort in that. But to as I'm growing up and as I'm moving around, I noticed that a lot of um, these adults go through that rejection, that neglection shit, and turn into this person, you know what I'm saying, that is, portraying that or pushing that up on our kids or on their kids, and so this having this conversation for me, number one, is healing. You know what I'm saying? Because to sit with y'all and to hear y'all stories and how it affected you, and how you're healing it, because it's not just about the trauma. We don't live in our trauma. You feel what I'm saying? We talk about it to give you insight and testimony, people around us to give insight and testimony, so that you can see, well, I came from here, I'm here now. So I can probably sit up here and say this, you know what I'm saying? But y'all stories is inspiring as shit. Like the sexual trauma and just all of that stuff is super inspiring. And I really hope that this topic, because we don't do a lot of these topics, I think that this is almost one of the most important, y'all, because our children right now, our generation is like, we I hate to say it, but we're fucked. We're done. Cancel my asses out. We fucked up, y'all. Our
But you want
generation
to
is
know why
just
it's
like,
important for us to touch on
throw
this
the
for real?
towel in
Because
for
this
us.
is
But our healing.
is lagging. Good. I was gonna say, you know why it's important for us to touch on these topics, because this is an uncomfortable conversation in majority of people's households. Stop trying to expose the broke man, the broke uncle, and expose the pedophile uncle. Okay, because he ain't doing right by little Nay or little Day Day. Okay, and y'all be seeing it. The old school folks, that feel like children are to be seen and not heard, y'all will see it and hold that family secret to the grave, not caring, that the person that it was done to is suffering a great deal. But holding a secret is more important. And so, because my parents and their family members held so many secrets, I don't I don't hold no punches when it comes to my children. And of course I do it age appropriately, but I break it down to a way where, it's understandable for them at their age. Because um this is why I was taken advantage of, because I was neglected and unprotected, and nobody was paying attention, and nobody took the time out to have these uncomfortable conversations, that these are your privates, nobody can touch them, they belong to you and only you. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have these uncomfortable conversations about the birds and the bees, whatever that means, because birds and bees don't fornicate. Okay, so I don't hold any punches when it comes to my children. And the only thing I haven't done yet, because I'm not ready to receive it, being honest, I have not asked my children, if I've caused them any trauma, or if there's anything that I could do behind the trauma that I have caused, because I have to be able to be in a position to receive that, for real. You know what I'm saying? Because we've all been through trauma, but I'm offering that to them. I'm going to step out of my comfort zone and offer that to them, because I know it was never offered to me, and children are humans as well. They would deserve respect. So,
Can I say something about that really quickly? So I did that. It was extremely uncomfortable. I sat with my girls right before my transition, right before my fullest, like, physical, my I would say my physical spiritual awakening, when I knew that things were going to change dynamically and drastically in my surroundings. I sat and I talked to them about it, and it was not easy, because as good as a parent as you can be, you are human, and you're going to make mistakes, and children do not forget your mistakes. Okay. And so sitting with them and them seeing me in the place that I was in, and hearing how, because they had compassion, but I said, I'm like, I want y'all to really tell me how you feel. There was anger there, there was resentment there, but though that anger and that resentment was out of love, because they only wanted what was best for me. And my kids also almost gave me some fucking stipulations to moving forward, like, and it had to do with men. I was going through a tumultuous breakup, and they was just like, "We're done, mom. Like, we're done. We don't want to go through this anymore. Like, get your shit together." And they didn't say it like that because they're kids, but I had to sit there, and it was almost like being chastised, but it wasn't being chastised, because it was just me allowing them to have their voice, because it meant so much to me. And it also put another kick up my ass to do better, to be better, to completely heal, to cut off the outside world, move different states where I can completely isolate myself and get my motherfucking life together. But Dr. Smalls, you are so right. That shit is hard. And I cried when I was having that conversation with them. I cried. And also, and I'm gonna give y'all the floor for this. They also know how to come to me and speak to me now, respectful but concerning as children. Now you got the little ones, they're still learning, because okay, so I got a 16-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 9, and then little baby. So the 13-year-old and the 16-year-old, they're the way that they communicate as young women, they're gonna be a beast as grown women. Like, the communicate is gonna be, no, ain't no great lines up in here. You gonna know how to communicate with them, or your ass gotta go. And the 9-year-old, she's developing that. You know, me and Asha then sat in with these kids and had conversations and allowed them to speak. And it only because I was able to give them that space to really be honest with me, that they was able to learn how to effectively communicate, not from an emotional standpoint, but from a place of, this is what I gotta say. And there may be tears floating around or whatever, but y'all, when it's time to converse, my children have a lot of emotional maturity, way more the fuck than I had, because I poured into them and I allowed them that space to fucking talk. And that is
That's
so
so dope.
important. If you got kids, let them kids talk, and also it's a release. Like, I can't say that to my mama. I can't say that. I can't, no, yes, you can. When you're hurting, say that shit. Trinity was cursing on paper. She was cussing. She cussed me out. She cussed Usher out. She be cursing, say her little cuss word. So she vents on paper. And then she left the paper out. We read it. Well, you got in trouble. However, I said, don't stop doing it. That's your journaling. That's how you release. I said, but tear that shit up or lock it up, because if I read, I'm getting your ass. If I hear you cussing me out on paper. But I also encourage that also encourage her to do that, because that's how you release. How many have y'all was y'all given that space to release when y'all were younger?
There was no safe space. There was no safe space. And I was sitting here thinking, right? You two are so fucking, like, as a team. I'm not saying like any of us aren't, but you two as a team cultivating a house full of girls. Bless you. Okay. First of all, let me bless you. I hope you felt that. Okay. Bless you. Okay. Because baby, I know boys are wild. I know I got 4 boys, but girl, all of you. Let me tell you something, girl. Like, y'all are really elite. And I'm sitting here thinking, that lady on TV that used to go in people's houses, and make them clean up and stuff because they wasn't doing right and stuff. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to order y'all services to come on up in here. Come on in the room and bless this here, okay, and teach them that here, okay. Everybody needs a Mystique Moon and a fucking Mayette in their damn house, because I watched the transition for real. Like, y'all knocked that out like fight night. And that's what cultivate. They are talking about by it takes a community to raise a kid. But the reason why people don't want the community to raise their children anymore is because y'all pedophiles, y'all touching on them. Y'all on sex offender registries and stuff. Like,
Hey, so organic, are you okay? You good? Because I see you having a moment. I love you.
Yeah, yeah, I love you too. Yeah, I'm okay. I don't, I'm getting in the space to where I'm talking about it. I never really talked about it before, and I don't know. It just to hear what you're doing for your daughters, even you be what you're doing for your sons, like it's just something that is important. You know what I mean? It's important, and when you're not able to have that I'm
Take your time.
Push mute, baby. Push mute, babe. Because this is what happens when we aren't protected when we're young, right? Because I understand what she feels, because like we are able to do that because we realize like we never had that. We realized what it took in order for us to get right. And so we know if that takes it for us, then it takes it for our children, you know. But organic, you are the one who's breaking that cycle, my love. Like, yes, you did not get it, but you get it now. You get it now. You know what I'm saying? You get that space now. You get to talk about it now, you know? And yeah, it's not fair. A lot of the times people don't understand why we go through some of the things that we go through. But had we not gone through those things, then we would not be able to confidently sit here and help heal other people. That's why the things that we go through is not really just for us, you know. And I wanted to go back to talking about communication with our children, because y'all, the one thing that I see when it comes to children, and parents is that y'all do not allow them to freely say the things that they want to say because y'all feel like it's disrespect. And y'all got to calm y'all egos like with that shit, dog, because you act like children don't have feelings. Like when she was talking about how Trinity cussed us out, right? And you act like she don't, like she ain't supposed to get pissed off. Like she ain't, and she hear us cuss. So what the fuck else is she gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So I
My
mean,
kids be
like,
like, permission to cuss, please. I be like, carry on.
I mean, they hear us. So children do what they see. She sees us journaling, and in my journal, I'll be cussing my ass off. You know what I'm saying? So my issue is that parents, you feel like for your children to say something to you, because a lot of our parents feel like that. That's why a lot of y'all won't go to your parents and say that to your parents, because you don't know how to communicate with them without them feeling disrespected, not knowing that you can't control that disrespect. They're going to feel disrespected because people don't like to hear things they need growth on. They just don't. Okay, our parents are not excluded from that, right? So that's where compassion and grace comes in at, because we're not doing this for them anyway. That's why when you, if you do go tell them, because really in actuality you don't have to tell them to their face. All right, but we don't want our children to heal like that. We don't want our children to grow up in their 20s then having to come back and tell us the trauma that we put on them. We want our children to be able to come, because they need to learn how to process that. That is learning how to effectively process their emotions and effectively communicate their emotions. So y'all want our children to grow up and not go and on shooting sprees, or choke their girlfriend or boyfriend out, or go out there and be shaking their ass all the hell. Like, it starts here. You having an open, my mom and never ever told me about a period or what a period was, or discussed a period with me. That's an issue. Much less could I come to her and tell her about, I didn't understand why I was going to an all white school and I was the only black person, but I felt alone. They didn't tell me about racism. I had issues. Communication. Go ahead, y'all.
You know, when I was going to school, the teachers was kept saying to me, you know, well, I kept saying to my stepmom, you know, I have ADD. You know, I have ADD. Something's wrong with her. She's not focused. And you know, instead of
Tasha,
my
unmute your IG so they can hear.
instead of family saying, you know, well, is it anything that you want to talk about? It was just immediately like, well, what's wrong with her? She's not paying attention. She's not passing. You know, well, we need to get her some help. She's down on herself. Nobody asked why. They just immediately jumped to a diagnosis, some acupuncture, and some Ritalin that I never drank a day in my life. Shouts to Roberta Smalls, the real Dr. Smalls. She told me to pour it out in the sink. And they thought I was drinking it, y'all. And they was telling my stepmom that I was getting more focused. I thought that was so funny because, you know, my aunt, man, she saved my life, yo. When I say, like, those are the two women, you know, like, they really tried to protect me. You know what I'm saying? They understood. I had no mom, you know, my dad was in and out of jail, and my stepmom wasn't making the best choices. So I had nobody to advocate for me as a child, you know, except for my dad's sisters. And they did the best they could because they had no guardianship over me, but they still advocated for me. So I know what it feels like to advocate for another little kid, but to not be protected all around the border, like y'all had me drinking nasty stuff, getting needles in my arm, you know, and they were talking to me in a belittling manner. You know, they were talking to me like I was stupid. You know, they said it out their mouths a few times. That carries on with a child. That was a trauma for me, because when you have children, you're supposed to speak life into them. You're supposed to tell them that they can be any fucking thing when they are growing up. They can do anything it is that they want to do when they are growing up, you know? But instead, because people are going through their own stuff, they beat a child down. This is why adults, men and women, it's important for you to address the child in you so that you don't ruin somebody else. Because that saying hurt people is a real thing. And you can't, nobody want to hear the excuse, this is just how I am. I'm a Virgo. I'm a Gem. Nobody want to hear that. Go heal. Go heal. Because look what it's done to my sisters that I'm sitting around. It's just not fair. You know what I'm saying? It's just not fair. It's disgusting. Somebody has to start standing up for one another. We have to start standing up for one another for real. Y'all see something? Yes, you do need to say something. I don't care if that falls under the snitch category. If a child is being taken advantage of, why would y'all ignore that? It's just, I don't know, y'all. It's beyond me.
I want to add too. I want to add on to that too. How um, we project our trauma onto our kids. Um, when I did some childhood regression activities and went back into my childhood, I was able to go back and see some of the things that my parents went through and why they made the choices that they made. And, that was able to help me understand them a little bit more. And a lot of what we went through, even though a lot of it was drug inflicted because my parents had a drug addiction sickness. Okay. And so a lot of that was caused by that. But a lot of that was because they were traumatized as children. So they inflicted that on us. And then in turn, I saw myself inflicting that on my kids by something as simple as not having boundaries and not having discipline, a good discipline, because I was afraid to do anything that wasn't just yes to my kids because I was so traumatized, that I didn't want them to feel that. I didn't want them to ever go through being hungry or not having stuff to where I did too much. I showered them with certain things and I didn't create any strong boundaries because I was, going saying, well, I went through this, so I don't want this. And Asha kind of helped me see a lot that you're not your parents. You're your own person, you're your own mother, and you will never put them through some of the things that you went through. Even though what my family, like what my mom and my dad went through, it was because of what their parents inflicted on them or what they went through. That was that childhood. I mean, that was that what is it called? The what is that word, y'all, when it's
What,
passed
generational
down?
cycle?
Generational, yeah, generational the generational, what is it, trauma, generational curses. That's the damn
Cycles.
word.
Cycles.
Yeah, it was the generational curses. But once I realized that I was doing that, because it could be done two different ways now, y'all. You can project on your children in a negative way to where you're giving them exactly what you got, which is why a lot of people who've been abused abuse their children or whatever that may entail. It could be all type of stuff. Or you could do like what I did, push myself onto them because I was so afraid to neglect my kids that I was. And then when I was in a place where I was struggling, because I'm a human and humans go through things, when I was in a place where I was struggling, I used to beat myself up like, it's okay for you to fall and fumble, but it wasn't okay for me because me falling and fumbling meant failure. You know what I mean? My children they're not going to see falling and fumbling as failure. They're going to see it as learning. I say that to them so much. Even though you still get punished, there is still a learning aspect to that you need to remember, you know. And so be careful not to project your trauma onto them, because then you're not breaking that curse. I'm breaking the curse. It's taking time, and you got to understand that it's going to take you some time to break that. It took you this amount of years to build it, and you think in a week or two it's going to be completely different. Hell no. You got to give yourself grace and give yourself time and allow yourself to be human, allow yourself to make mistakes, because now even in my mistakes, in the moments where I make mistakes, I'm so kind to myself and I apologize to my kids. I say I'm sorry. It'd be hard for me to say you right though. I ain't finna lie. I be biting my tongue to say you right, but I say it. You know what I mean? But all of those things I think is really important to not project your trauma onto your kids. And then it stops there. And then when it's their turn and when they have kids, it's not even gonna be something that they understand to be a thing. They won't do that.
Okay, I had to get my shit together. All right, so I got emotional because yeah, nobody ever advocated for me. Nobody ever tried to fight for me, and I got into like this complacent thing where I let people just say what they want, no matter what situation I was in. It was like, she's a bitch. Okay, yeah, I'm a bitch. All right. It was kind of one of those things. And when I had my son, um, I was the same way, in the beginning. I was the same way. And then he turned 3 years old and I started noticing differences. I started noticing things were different. How he responded to people was different. His words were regressing. And he was diagnosed with autism nonverbal. And it was crazy because it was like his dad and his family and them, they didn't know shit about autism or how to work with that, and my people didn't either. And I learned through that chaos that Source wanted me to speak up. Source wanted me to advocate for my son the way that I was never advocated for. And it was in that moment where I realized the assignment that was placed on me by him being nonverbal and him not being able to express normally like other children would be by their words, you know. And because of that, I feel like I have a very unique relationship with him because I'm able to advocate for him in ways that I never was as a child. So that was what I was trying to get out and say.
I thank you. I thank you so much. Just for being transparent, because people don't understand how important, how challenging that is, and how important that is. Because if we don't speak up about the trauma that we went through when we were younger, then like we'll never know, the shit that we'll never know how to fix the issue. So I wrote down some notes, and I can't stress enough when it comes to communication with our children. And I know it's challenging because a lot of y'all don't know how to communicate effectively. So please get help, get a mediator. Don't be so much in your ego that you allow that to stop you from communicating with your children. Okay, so don't be like, well, I should be able to talk to them or they should talk to me. Maybe they can't talk to you. Okay, so especially girls, it's hard to tell your mother things. Okay, so get somebody else who they can trust and who they can speak with openly. Okay, because y'all, like, children, I hid so much from my parents because I could not talk to them. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, that caused me more trauma. And the next thing I wanted to talk about was allowing your children to see you to be human. Okay, because sometimes your children, like when you come out, you're their guides. So please understand, until they understand about source, you're their guide. Okay, so when they see you, you're not supposed to mess up. You're not supposed to make mistakes. You're not supposed to do none of that. Right. And so that's why it's very important for you to take accountability when you fuck up, because you're not perfect. Take accountability when you fuck up. Go to your child. And then also ways to, when if you want your child to handle things differently, when they get upset, they're only doing what they see. Yes, their genetics play a part in it, but they're only doing what they see. So if they're going and they are acting out in violence, I'm pretty sure you whoop their ass. I'm pretty sure you use corporal punishment, because that's how they have learned to solve their issues. That's why I'm not saying you can't whoop their ass sometimes. Because sometimes they be needing that good reminder. We get our ass whooped. Okay. Sometimes we get our ass whooped real bad. You know, we be getting up. Y'all know that cry. Okay. We done got our
Yep.
ass whooped. Okay. It's okay for you to whoop their ass sometimes. Okay. But I'm saying most of the time, you have to talk. And then when you whoop their ass, make sure you go back and tell them why you whooped their ass.
Yeah, don't
Make
just
sure
be
you,
beating them because you got beat growing up.
right. So make sure, and that's why I don't suggest that if you do use corporal punishment, like take a minute. Don't whoop them while you angry, because then you're gonna fuck them up. All right. Then you might whoop them longer than they supposed to be whooped, type shit. You know what I'm saying? So if you want your children to learn how to manage their, learn how to manage. Hit some hit dogs is hollering. Some hit dogs is hollering over here on the live. Some hit dogs is hollering. They don't beat they churn. That's what. They don't beat their turn, but yeah. So I suggest that you take a moment. Okay, always take a moment. It's okay for you to be like, you know what, I want to whoop your ass right now. You still might get this ass whooping, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna calm down first, and then we're gonna have a conversation, and then I'm gonna whoop your ass or not whoop your ass, because you might decide not to whoop them after you calm down. Okay? Because children will be children. One thing that I want y'all to quit doing is sending children in the room and telling them to entertain themselves like grown people. And then when they act grown, tell them to stop acting grown. That's why our children are confused. That's why they're confused. Okay? So teach them to be children. We give them examples all the time. And you know what? Life teaches them, because when they think they know something to happen, they'll fuck up. They'll get in trouble. And I'll be like, you know why you're children now and we're adults? Do you wonder? Because they question us all the fucking time. And y'all can't get mad at that. These children are setting the foundation of shit that's new. So they're going to be rebellious because they're breaking a system. They're not going to be the same. So you have to, but they chose you. You can deal with it. Handle your shit. These children are very smart. You can't get over on them. You can't just tell them nothing. You can't just do nothing, because they're going to question the fuck out of you. And that's okay. Allow them to do that. Allow them to ask questions. It'll get to a point where, all right, nigga, that's a fucking enough. Okay, I'm not explaining myself no goddamn more. Okay? I don't even do it to them niggas in the street. But you want me? No. I said what I said. Okay? But at least try to explain it to them. Communication is very important. And then you will build that relationship with them where they will feel comfortable coming to you. And then that's it. And then set up a system. Like I said, it takes a village. So there may be things that they can't tell you. And men, please do not think that little boys cannot get molested or taken advantage of. Please don't think that. Women, please don't think little boys don't get molested or taken advantage of. Please think that little boys don't get raped by older women. Please stop that. Please don't think that. Please stop being oblivious to it, because a lot of
By
them
their
have mother
sports
issues.
coaches,
A lot of them have mother issues because you
Teachers.
know and don't do shit. Because you know and don't do shit. If your children are acting out, it's for a fucking reason. There are very few children that are coming in that are just natural psychopaths and sociopaths. There are some. I'm not going to say there aren't any, but it's rare that children are come in and they are natural psychopaths. Okay? These children are being cultivated to be psychopaths and sociopaths and narcissists because of y'all, because of the way that we think, because of what we do. We allow them to watch in society, right? So I want to talk about, because we were talking about trauma, and because we got, we have 54 minutes. I like this shit. It keep a time right on there. I like it. So we were talking about trauma and single parenthood, and we said parenthood for a reason, because we're not talking just about single mothers, because there are single fathers out there too. And we have single fathers out there, And then the fathers, they don't have a mother. That can be a traumatic experience. So this is why it's single parenthood. So yeah, let's talk about that. I'm gonna shut up now. Let my woes talk.
Okay,
Um,
so okay.
I want to say that um, support doesn't always have to come in a form of just a mother and a father. Recognize your community, because even with the mother and a father, you still need a community. Um, and I was talking to one of the people at my daughter's school, and something that she said to me that no teacher administrator has ever said to me, and she said, we are doing this together. We are helping her and raising her together. She said, it's not just you. I'm right here with you. Never heard that from an administrator or a school. I think that is lacking in the school system. Understanding that I need to be able to trust you when I release my children to you. You are part of our community. Every single adult that is in that school is responsible for them kids, and you are part of my community. And you might be in a community where you might be hanging out with your neighbors and stuff like. Know who you got your kids around. And if you can't make that person a part of your community, your children should not be around them. Because everybody who I bring, who comes around my tribe, my family, you need a purpose. You're not just bringing nobody, just anybody around you. Number one, energy is. So I don't know what kind of energy you're carrying. I don't know what kind of behaviors that you have. You know what I mean? And you have to be able to try. I have a friend who we've been knowing, childhood friend. She like family, and I trust her. I don't let my girls go over people's houses and spend the night. Ooh, it take everything in me to say even yes every now and again, y'all. But I have to be able to trust you to even come around my kids, to even sit with them. I have to be able to trust you enough to where I can leave you with them and they is safe. I feel like they're safe because it's all about community. That's a big thing. I think that is lacking in our Black community, is that community state of mind, that each one teach one idea, that it takes a village idea, that we are one, like, you know what I'm saying? That idea, that concept and mindset has been driven out of our communities, and we need to bring that back. So that's another solution. Let's start, because there are plenty of them out there, and if you are not a part of one, it's not about riding this wave alone, y'all. Especially when you have children that you are responsible of, single mothers and fathers. Don't try to do it alone. Your tribe don't have to be your family. I know a lot of people shy away from that mindset because their family has burnt them and hurt them. Your tribe don't have to be your family. You allow yourself to love yourself, and then open yourself up to real love, like people who really fuck with you the hard way, people who really genuinely want to see you win. You know what I'm saying? And then allow them into your life and into your circle, and that becomes your community. That literally becomes your community. You know, go to if your kids is in school, go to them parent teacher conferences. I don't like going to parent teacher conferences because they be annoying me, but I gotta try. So anyway, but go to parent teacher conferences, because you might not know who you might run into, and you're a single parent, and it might be another single parent in there that need a try, you know, and then you find somebody in there, and then y'all become one in that tribe, and then you get to take your kids over their house and get a break and shit. That's tribal right there. You know how important it is to get a break from your kids, but you can't because you don't trust no damn body. Single parents, you need that break. You need that time. It's so important. It's just as important as taking care of them, because if you are fucked up here, that's gonna come out in your actions and in your words. And if you pound on your children verbally, that's worse than physically to me. Because that shit, they don't leave them. And they go out and they talk like that in a public. They turn into that, you know. So find you a community, find you a tribe. Allow yourself the open space to receive. Go out into events. Go to, like, I know there's a lot of Facebook groups that like single parent Facebook groups and events and family events and stuff like that. Go and introduce play dates. Play dates. What the fuck happened to play dates? Why don't we, black people, why we don't be doing play dates, y'all? Parents, let's do play dates. And then what happens is you see it might be something that you're lacking as a parent, because we all lack something, and this person might have that. Like, damn, I don't have that. I don't have the patience to sit and read to my kids. Can you do that for me? And then I'll do pizza night and I'll give you a break. But I need somebody to read to them, because I don't have the patience to read to them. You know what I'm saying? It's just so much. But that tribal, that community mindset, let's bring that back. And those are just some of the ways that you can bring it back. Join, if you are a woman, join Women of Alignment. We are a tribe. We have children, and all of our children are all of our children, if you know what I'm saying. So if you're looking for a tribe, and if you are a real person that with a real heart, not a real person, but if you have a real heart, then join the tribe. Join our tribe.
Look, Mystique did that. I really hate to have to go after her, because I'm like, well, shit, drop mic, sis. Like, drop the motherfucking mic. I mean, as a single parent, I concur. Um, because, like, going back to, like I said, with my son being nonverbal and autistic, I'm very highly fucking big on who he goes around and who he chills with. And I had to start, like you said, I had to start kind of finding the community of other kids that he could be able to be around. And a lot of autistic children don't have play dates, don't have other children that they go to, because 9 times out of 10 the parent is already judging them or thinking they're weird, or they, if they have certain little things, like my son don't like to be touched on. He don't like when you touch him. He gonna quirk out on you. He doesn't like loud noises. You know what I mean? So there is a different setting that he likes to have when he plays with his friends. So my mind was just going with that, like you were saying, with the whole community part, because we all have different children in the community that learn different, that play different, that interact different. And I think, for parents like myself that have a child with special needs, we won't really know, because we be so engulfed into making sure our child is fine, making sure everything is good and proper and they're safe, that we don't go out of that box to feel comfortable. And that kind of, gave me a little edge to start being more proactive in that area, because it is needed. It is needed. I don't get the typical break that most people would already, because I'm already kind of edgy with the way that he communicates. So I definitely received what you said.
So I'm mad overprotective, y'all. Like, you can't go to no sleepover. I think my daughter went to one sleepover and that's it. Swear to God. And I was about to be in the bushes with a flashlight, like, what's going on in here? Because I knock you smooth out. I'm childish for real when it comes to my kids, because I've never, I wasn't protected in that way. I didn't cuss little kids out over my kids. I'm talking about little kids. Okay, y'all? I don't care. I don't take it back either. I don't care if y'all judge me for it either, because that's my way of protecting my children. And I know it's probably overprotection, because I don't, and there's 15 and 16. They be like, can I spend the night? Nope. They can come over here. They can come over here, no problem. That's a man in their house anyway. So that's inappropriate to me. I'm good. I'm sorry, I'm scary. You know what I mean? And I don't want none of my kids to be touched on or have a traumatic experience. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, that's crazy to me. I feel like I know that they should have a life, but you can have one where I can see you. Okay? I said what I said. because there's too many people snatching people's kids,
Yeah,
human
I don't see
trafficking.
nothing wrong with it because
That's
it's crazy.
scary. Like, it's a scary time. It's not back in the day where we could all huddle up together, y'all, and ride our bikes all around the block and go down to the park, because we used to run in packs back in the day. But no, it's scary. People are snatching kids. People are being weird to kids sexually. It's no. It's just not safe. And this is the best way I know how, because I've never been protected. So I think I know I be doing a little bit too much sometimes, but I know that it's seriously keeping them safe. You know what I'm saying? And I be needing that break. I be needing that me time. Listen, my kids is old enough, okay?
Well, that's
I
why
get I find time.
the more that you heal, you know, the more that you heal from not being protected, the more that you will release kind of that control. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I understand why. Like today is crazy. The days are crazy nowadays. And we have to protect our children. I don't see nothing wrong with saying, nah, they can come over here. I can meet their parents. I can meet their mom, and they can come over
Or
here.
even us engaging in activities where we all see the kids and I can see the parents too.
Right. So, but that's why it's so important for the village too. You know what I'm saying? Because that way we trust. I trust them. That's like Mystique was saying.
Well, that's
I
why
trust.
I see y'all are my village. You know what I'm saying? So my village isn't in my actual area, but I found my village. You know what I'm trying to say? Everybody has to go out there and go find their village, because you can't just think you can send little Day Day outside and think he gonna be out there an hour later because you wanted to
Yeah, my
decide.
kids, my
Mm-mm.
kids, my son ain't playing with the neighborhood kids. I'm sorry.
Mm.
And please believe, you guys, that all my woes, their children, they got my number on speed dial. Please believe. We may not be there, but I'm a phone call away. Go ahead, Mystique, and we finna roll it down.
So, I was definitely very overprotective of them. Um, I remember I thought that they had got snatched up one day and I was fucking hysterical. And they didn't. And they came home and I was hysterical. I was going crazy. And then the next day they went right back outside. And whenever they dot that door, my heart skips a beat. However, I know because my kids be on it. They see a van, they really big on vans, y'all. They see a van, they be like, nope, we going around the block. You know what I'm saying? I have to stand firm in knowing that my children are protected, and that if my intuition is very strong. And so if I feel something, then I'll react how I need to react. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I used to want to keep them here, but they can't learn life here. They have to experience. Children do not learn life here. They learn life by experience, just like we do. And so I had to release them. I had to release them out to the neighborhood, y'all. I had to get my kids curfews, Lord. And they be coming in late past their curfew, 1 minute late. I'm going crazy. You know what I'm saying? My little baby girl, my 9-year-old, she got the street lights curfew. She got the street lights curfew. And then, because we stay in a community, I mean a apartment community, and there's so many kids out here. And she used to hit me with the, can I go to the park? And I used to be like, no, without your big sister. And then she got older and more mature and stuff. And then I'd be like, yes. That was huge for me. It be days where, because kids, and y'all, let's try not to contradict ourselves, because we want our kids to be like that. I know it's not safe and stuff like that, but we have to let them go outside and experience and be out there and do like we used to do. When I allow them to go outside, they be out there. They be out there, and I go out there every now and again and check on them. You know what I'm saying? The small one, because the 12-year-old, she be going off here and there and there and there and there. And then they roll in groups. She goes to her friend house and she's always with somebody. You know what I'm saying? But the point I'm trying to make is, they have to experience. As scary as it is, it's scary to send them to school with these motherfuckers shooting up school and stuff too. But know that they're protected. Whenever they leave, do a protection spell over them. You feel what I'm saying? Be do a protection spell on them. Now I do agree with you not letting them go over people's house because I don't let them go over people's houses. Only childhood friends and family, meaning tribe. My real blood family or my tribal family. Other than that, ain't no I'm finna go spend a night over my friend's house. You can't even go in their house, nigga. You know what I'm saying? But allow them to experience, and like I said, if you have to do a protection spell every time they got that door, put some fucking protection stones in their motherfucking pocket, sprinkle some black, like, if
I
you're
just
into
got to
that,
get
do a
them
prayer.
stones, but they pray every morning. You know, they
Yes,
give us,
dog, do a prayer.
yeah.
Whatever it is that you need to do the tracking shit where their phone is being tracked. Go to and invest and get them tracking bracelets or something. Whatever it is that you have to do to feel
Yep, I
comfortable, do
sure
what you
do.
have to
Yep.
do. But at
I
the
was
end of
just
the
saying
day,
that, like, I'm gonna get
allow
them
them
some
to
ear
go out and
tags.
experience because that shit is scary, but they need that. They need that. And our kids in this generation do not freaking go outside anymore. They don't go outside anymore. I love to see my daughter playing outside in the dirt. I hate when she tracked that shit in the house, but it is what it is. Or the little girls coming and knocking at the door, you know what I'm saying? Or I get a phone call, can I go to the game? Y'all, all that shit bring me anxiety and they ain't never missing it. It all brings me anxiety, but I have to trust that they rolling with God and my ancestors don't fucking play.
Indeed. So I love it, you know, and I love y'all for allowing your children that space, because when you're sheltered, you're not teaching your children, you're not preparing them for life. Y'all might think that you are hard on them, but you got to prepare them for life lessons. You got to prepare them. I would much rather we teach them than life whip their ass and teach them. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be very careful with that. Like I said, allow them to communicate with you. Get out your emotions about it. Don't think that it's disrespectful. Like before they come, just be like, okay, I used to watch well, I still watch My Wife and Kids, and I think that they had Michael Kyle had a perfect solution. They used to have like a family caucus, and it was no hold bars, no consequences. So they would allowed to say how they felt with no consequences in a family unit just that one time. Look, y'all need to develop something like that. Yeah, like it's very important that like nobody sits down because we have to work so much. We don't sit down at the table and discuss like, well, how was your day with your child? I do that to them babies all the time. I ask them how their day was, and I really listen. Okay, I don't ask them how their day was and continue on doing the shit that I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And not listen to them, because do you know that causes rejection? Y'all got to really pay attention. One thing, when you become a parent, like it's not about you no more. Y'all really kill me with that. I can still have a life when I got no niggas. No, that's not how it works no more. You are now responsible for another life. You are now responsible for cultivating another balanced human being. That's nothing you should take lightly. You should not take that lightly. Okay. So also remember that this person is a little human, and that this person does have feelings. They do have emotions, and they do need to learn how to express it. And if you tell your child, especially women telling little boys, stop telling them not to cry. Okay. Now, if they are excessive crying, be like, you know what? That is really nothing to cry over. What are you really mad at? Talk to them. Don't call them no fucking crybaby. Don't call them no pussy. Don't call them words that are psychologically damning, because that is worse. Like she said, those are scars you cannot see anymore. Okay. So just be very careful and aware of your actions when it comes to how you are dealing with your children, how you are cultivating them. Because we raise cattle, if you want to be honest. We cultivate our children, okay? And take an active role in their schooling. All right. And if you don't know what to do, get help. You are a parent and you are in charge of this child's life. It is up to you. Okay, it is up to you on how this child is going to turn out, and we have to stop making our children imbalanced individuals. In order to do that, we have to be balanced. All right. So yeah, this was a good topic. It got a little sensitive as I knew it would, but that's okay because that's healing. And that's actually in the word trauma. That's amazing to me because I understand that. Ooh, my whole body just vibrated because trauma is healing, whether y'all know it or not. Because when you are aware of it and you release it, light comes from darkness. That's why I said I would not be who I am and speak as confidently as I do and be as confident in myself as I am had I not went through that trauma. My parents and my family had to reject me so I can understand that I don't need nobody to validate me but my source. That made me more confident in who I was. That would made me be able to set up boundaries. Do you understand? So we already are going to, your children already have certain things, that lessons that they are supposed to learn that ain't got nothing to do with you coming to this earth. One, so they're going to already have their share of challenges when they come to this earth. We don't want to add to them. Point blank, period. We are here to help them cultivate through those challenges that are assigned to them because it's some karmic lessons that they have to learn. There are lessons that they have to learn. We are here to guide them through it, not tell them how to get through it, what they should be, how they should act, because we show them through how we act. We don't have to tell them shit. We lead by example. And when you start doing that, when you fix yourself, you will fix your children. Okay? So I love y'all so much. I'm going to let y'all say y'all little final words. Go ahead, Mystique.
Hey, I couldn't get off the mute. So I don't have anything to say other than, seek a tribe, you know what I mean? And let's start learning from one another as parents, and not just single parents, because single parents are all like, there's a special note for single parents, and I understand that, but families as well, they need a tribe as well. You know what I'm saying? So just parents in general, find your tribe so we can all begin to learn from one another and build something sustainable and solid for our future. If we got a circle around them, we got a circle built around them, then they'll be protected. You know, Self-preservation is the first law of nature. Love yourself before you love anything, anybody else in this world, and remember to lead with your heart, and everything else will follow. And go to YouTube and subscribe to She Sounds Off. Thank y'all for listening. Love you, love you.
So y'all can follow my page on Facebook. You can either see me under B Smalls or Dr. Smalls Herbal Essence. I am the owner of Dr. Smalls Herbal Essence. Um, I'm also an active board member of Women of Alignment, y'all. And if sisterhood is something that you're looking for, somebody to hold you accountable, somebody to stand in the gap with you, a non-judgment free zone, this is something that you might want to tap into. Don't bite off too much, that more than you can chew. If you're not ready, you're not ready. You know what I'm saying? But this is definitely something that you might want to look into, when it does come to finding a community, and it's nothing but genuine love. So, if you're a perfect fit, you're a perfect fit. You know what I mean? Everything ain't for everybody. But y'all can also find Woman of Alignment on Instagram, obviously now on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Big things are going. But
And
yeah, I just want to say I'm proud of y'all. I'm proud of my sisters. They stood in the gap with me mad times, and my elevator don't reach the top floor. You know what I'm saying? It get to the third and it tilt to the side. You know what I'm saying? And look, they still riding through the six with my woes. You know what I'm saying? You know how that shit go. So love is love. You know what I'm saying? Peace, beloved. I hope y'all safe. I hope y'all think about tapping in. And if you want to be, go holler at us because we there too.
I love being what she has. Okay. All right. So, like B was saying, definitely tap in women alignment. I'm also another active board member. on Women of Alignment. If you want to be able to be vulnerable and not feel judged and actually cry and a bunch of, I don't know how many people I just cried in front of, but I don't even feel bad because, like she said, I'm seeking validation from source, and I'm healing through what I'm going through. Tap the fuck in. I'm on Bigo Live TV as a host. You can find me. What's my name on there? Oh, don't play on my top one is my ID. That's before I met Asha and Women of Alignment. I won't in my feminine name, but it's okay. All right. You can find me there on
Lord, don't
Bigo
get too gritty in front of Pastor.
for the pastor. Find me on y'all can find me on Bigo Live TV. And also if y'all are definitely interested in sisterhood that's going to take you serious, that's not going to judge you, that is actually going to heal with you, not just tell you how to fucking heal. Definitely tap in with Women in Alignment, and we love you and we like you.
Okay, I love y'all to life. You know what I'm saying? So, no, she left, niggas. Okay, so but she's still on IG. I'm confused. Now I'm confused. I did something. I'm talking. Now I'm confused. Okay, y'all. So we finna go. I love y'all. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for interacting. And we're gonna get better, with getting the comments because I saw some comments that we didn't get to read on IG, and I apologize. Okay, so we're gonna get better. We're still working this thing out. We're learning how to do this thing. So, we're going to be on all platforms streaming soon. Okay, so we just trying to get this down packed. So it's called our podcast is called A Conversation with the WOAs, and we talk about a variety of subjects. Today we were talking about trauma and the effects that it is on our children. And we talked about a lot of good things, mostly communication and allowing your children to communicate because that is the first step of them not feeling rejected, of them not feeling abandoned. Because if you work all the time, and just because you're there, if you work all the time, your child can still feel a sense of abandonment, you guys. Okay, so abandonment is not just you not being there or you not being in their lives. Okay, so please understand it also means like if you work a lot and you're never home, that's a sense of abandonment to a child. Okay, so just remember, okay, be aware of who you are and go forth with the power of source behind you. I love y'all so much. There is great, great, great motherfucking love for you here. Dare to be different, dare to dream your destiny, and stay the fuck aligned. Y'all see y'all Monday on Mentor Me Monday. My boobies are shaking, but y'all can't see them. Love y'all. Stay the fuck aligned. Peace. Y'all don't go nowhere on here yet.